Sal Matera, welcome. So nice to have you aboard. Sal, you were contemporary Bobby Fischer. You have so many marvelous stories. Now president of the Marshall Chess Foundation. Introduce yourself to our audience, and we can't help but ask about Bobby Fischer stories. Please, take it away.
As Yasser said, my name is Sal Matera. I'm a vice president of the Marshall Chess Club and a president of the Marshall Chess Foundation. A little bit later, we'll talk about the Fischer archives.
Sure.
Yes, I knew Bobby many, many times. He was always at Jack Collins's house.
Right.
So many times I would just go to the house, and usually about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, Bobby would show up because he was sleeping all day.
Those were his hours.
Those were his hours. He actually when I won the U.S. Junior, he went over all the games. And I remember there was one I was very, very proud of, and he just sort of looked at me and said, "You don't really have very much here, do you?" Okay. But he was always spot on and very, very quickly understood what was happening.
The downside of analyzing with a genius, right, Sal? I mean, my goodness.
It was amazing, yes.
Yeah. And you had this really nice story just a moment ago. You were telling me about Pal Benko, who was a candidate master at the time, trying to teach Bobby that the Benoni was unplayable. Tell our audience how that worked out.
So actually, this was the last round of the U.S. Junior Chess Championship, which I won. And luckily, I managed to get 1.5 points ahead of Walter Brown in the last round. And we got to a very, very complicated position. I was the white side of the Benoni. Obviously, Brown is black. He's dying to beat me. And I come to a point where I'm looking at this very complex move, and I can't really calculate it to the end, but my gut is saying that's the right move.
Right.
And among other things, it might have gotten Walter into time pressure, which he loves, which he always was getting into. And just at the moment I was about to make the move, Bobby Fischer walks in, because he used to attend the U.S. Juniors, continuously, and I just froze. And I played some general move, and Walter just crushed me immediately. Okay.
Put him on the air.
Afterwards, it was held in the Manhattan Chess Club, which was in the Henry Hudson Hotel. Walter and I went thinking we were going to have our postmortem.
Right, to look at your game.
And we sat down, and immediately Benko and Fischer pushed us aside. Benko took the white side, which was my side. Bobby took the black side, because of course he loved to play the Benoni. And they just started analyzing this game. Brown and I were now irrelevant to the whole circumstance. And it was just amazing, because it was one of the first times, and this is a candidate, a two-time candidate. He was a seriously strong player.
Right,
okay.
Right.
And no matter what he did, to try to control Bobby, right? He's trying to be, the great strategist and control the board, et cetera, et cetera. He couldn't control him. Fischer would just always find incredible counterplay. And it was just really amazing. And Brown and I just sort of looked at each other, because we'd seen none of this stuff.
Right.
But I think afterwards we talked about it. I said, there are grandmasters, and then there's this guy, Bobby Fischer, and there's something different, there's something special there. And I think we even said this is probably what a world champion is like.
How old was Bobby at this time? What years? Was he like
I was
teenager?
16 in 67, so he was born in 43. 60, I can't do the math. 20-something, right?
I gotcha. I mean, just this idea that you were around this legend and saw him growing up. Today, you are president of the Marshall Foundation, and you came across a lot of materials that Regina, his mom, had kept. Tell us, and where did they end up? Where are they today, Sal?
Well, the Targs, Russell and Regina, Bobby's sister, had donated. Joan, sorry.
Yes.
Donated 20 to 25 boxes full of original score sheets, carbon copies, of course, because that's what we all had. We didn't have those.
The arbiters took away our originals.
Exactly.
What? Yeah.
The galleys of his first book, Bobby Fischer's Games of Chess, many, many photographs, correspondence, et cetera, et cetera. And they donated it to the Marshall Chess Foundation because they wanted to have a tax-deductible donation, which they did. It sat there. It actually arrived in 2008, which was the year that Bobby died at the age of 64, which, as you know, is symbolically important to chess players. And nothing happened with it. And I'm suddenly the president of the Marshall Chess Foundation, and I thought it was very, very important to get this sold. And initially it was, well, let's see if we can get some money for it. And I went to auction houses and try to contact private people. And then at some point I was thinking about it going, wait a minute, this is Bobby Fischer, okay?
Right.
This is the most important stuff in the world
For chess players.
And I didn't want to see a diaspora, because the auction house started talking about, oh, we sell it in lots. I said, what's
Private
that? That means, oh, we
collections.
private, and we'll put it in chunk. You'll get the score sheets for 59, and
Right.
blah blah blah. And I said, that's wrong. So I got in touch with Shannon Bailey of the World Chess Hall of Fame, and I said, I think this is the place this belongs.
You need this. Yeah.
And after a lot of negotiation and discussion, you know, we worked out a deal.
Right.
And literally 2 days ago, John Donaldson was here, and he and I were poring over the collection and helping to catalog it, which you need chess players to be able to do it. So I'm very, very happy about that, because I feel
It's found a home.
it's found a home, it's found the right home. So I'm delighted.
Just a second. You're telling me that boxes and boxes of Bobby Fischer training games have been uncovered, unearthed. So these are score sheets that nobody besides yourself and John have seen in ages.
There are about 14 or 15 that no one has ever seen.
Wow.
Okay. So what I'm hoping, it's also interesting because you look at the games and let's say they're late 57, and in about a month he's going to win the U.S. championship.
Right.
And he's up a pawn and a rook and pawn ending and can't convert it. And you sit there and go, what happened? In that very short period of time, he just went from, he figured it out.
Right.
Somehow he understood chess, and then he won the U.S. championship, and a year later he was a candidate, and you know, he was just amazing.
Yeah.
A lot of this is just very interesting. So how did he go from there to here in such a short period of time?
How do you do it?
I don't know.
Come on.
I wish I knew.
I wish I knew. Come on, Sal.
If I had the secret, I wouldn't be here.
Dude, you're on the show for a reason. We brought you.
I
Yeah,
don't
we thought
know.
you were a specialist.
I don't-
Yeah, it's remarkable,
It's
isn't
incredible.
it? Yeah, it really is.
It's like a genius just suddenly,
Blossomed.
he's got it.
That's it.
So it was very, very exciting. So anyway, I'm very happy to have done that.
Christian, you got an opportunity to ask Bobby Fischer stories and what it was like growing up in New York with international
Well, I'm sure
Sal
we
Matera.
will hear a lot about that, but I do want to ask you about some of the players in this championship, specifically our leader right now, Abhimanyu Mishra. Do you see any similarities between himself and Bobby?
Actually, yesterday's game, I was very impressed that he
Against
was
Ray Robson.
against that. It was everybody. The three of you were trying to figure out what was going on.
Exactly.
Indeed,
With
we
the
were.
engine.
We
And
were
it was
struggling.
with the engine, and I thought that he just seems to have an incredible ability to play in very complicated positions. I get the preparation.
Yeah, yeah.
But what I'm impressed with even more is just the over-the-board capability of playing such a complicated game. And
That Queen D8, Rook E7, he understood where he had to place his pieces to meet the requirements of the position. Just incredible.
it was very, very impressive.
Yeah.
Sal, I'm going to put you on the spot right here, right now. I'm going to bring up the game of Mishra today because it's a very complicated position as we were coming into our studios here. Here he is. He's white. He's up against Hans Niemann, and the last few moves were this whole ideas that we had seen, Queen A3, putting pressure on whoops, I think
Queen
that
A3
this
was
is-
not played.
Oh, you wanted to play that.
yeah, I think
That was our
actually this is
analysis.
our analysis. Let me refresh the board for just a moment. And this is what happened, not what we were looking at. Bishop G5, Rook E8, takes, Knight E4. Take it away. What is going on? And would
You're
you
asking
ever?
me?
Yes, exactly, dude. We're putting you in the hot seat. I'm looking to take a break.
Well, it's oh, and he took.
He
Took
already
on
did.
E4,
Okay.
yes.
So we're going to see Rook takes E4.
Well, I think if I were black, I would not be happy about the broken pawn structure.
True.
And I think that's a good. I like the idea of Rook B8 because
Just
otherwise Rook
controlling.
B1 would have been very strong. And wasn't that Queen just on A3 a move or two ago?
No, we were trying to put it there. That was our analysis. The queen slid over to C1 earlier in the game, and we were looking at ideas of Queen A3 in order to target this pawn on E6. You mentioned the double pawns, but this control of the B file.
Gives
Just
a lot
your
of activity.
evaluation. Would you rather play black or rather play white?
I'd rather play white, but I think black has a lot of counterplay here. And I think queen a3 is not a move because of queen b2 at this point.
Exactly. Queen a3, queen b2, trading the queens seems to help only black's cause.
And playing something like rook e2 looks
Okay.
a little okay.
It's okay, just like, but then maybe, I don't know, c5.
I feel at some point maybe it's going to turn into okay, you get my pawn on a2, something like queen to e3, you go queen b2, I move the rook back. Without the rook on e2, I don't
You
like
mean
this.
like rook b8, queen
Let's say
e3,
queen e3, right?
Queen b2.
You go queen b2, I move my rook, you take my pawn on a2, and then I start an attack on the king side with g4. I feel that's going to be the race that we're going to see.
Right.
Absolutely. I'm not sure you actually answered the question. As Mishra, do you recognize greatness in Mishra as well?
Well, this is the first time I've really followed his games closely,
Right.
and live is a whole different feeling. You really start to understand what people are doing. I was very impressed with yesterday's game.
Absolutely. Kate?
And I have a question. So you were a U.S. junior champion. You played in the U.S. championships. How does it feel to be here today to analyze in the studio, to see how, the Hall of Fame, how the playing hall, where their players are playing?
Well, I think it's fantastic. I mean, it's one of the reasons I came to St. Louis. One was to help John
with the archive.
with the archive, but a lot of it was just, first of all, to see the St. Louis chess scene, and to also attend
a modern U.S.
a
championship.
modern U.S. championship.
Right.
Do you miss playing this tournament?
Sure. I'll tell you one last memory, which is, again, of Bobby. I mean, this is very, very sophisticated, the setup you have here, and I'm sure
Right.
you know that when Bobby was playing, we had no such thing.
Of course.
So what they had is
Roll up boards
the
and bust
players
things
would
out.
be playing, and then there would be large demonstration boards behind them. The audience is out there so they could follow the games. And I worked the wall board, so I was able to work
You're
one
a
of
wall
Bobby's.
board.
I'm a wall. Yes, absolutely. So I actually was the guy who was following Fischer's moves
And relaying them.
and putting them up on the board.
Yeah.
And this was I can't remember which U.S. championship it was, but he had been playing only the King's Indian, which we were talking about yesterday with
Right.
Carissa, et cetera, et cetera. And all of a sudden he started playing the Nimzo Indian, which nobody had seen before, with that special line where quick b6, bishop a6.
Right.
And he was black against Sadie. Of course, Sadie, I think, was completely taken aback that he was not prepared to the teeth for the King's Indian. And there was a point where Bobby, I'm probably an expert at this point. I'm going, well, he could probably do that, but that sacrifices an exchange of some compensation. Of course, he plays it and just crushes Sadie. I was very
Right.
impressed.
Right.
It was sort of nice to be the person who was like making those moves on the board, pretending it was me.
That was my
experience.
idea.
Yeah, I thought of that.
Yeah. I know.
Good work, Bobby.
Sal, thank you so much for coming. It
Thank
was
you,
great to
Yasser.
have you with us today.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
Nice
much.
to meet you. And I also just want to say one last thing. The three of you do a wonderful job.
Oh, you're
Thank
only
you
saying that
very
because it's true.
Yes, it's true. It's wonderful. It's great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And here, hold on,
don't
hold
can't
on.
go away. Okay.
Here we got the pairings to show you, everybody.